Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Happy hump day. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, 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 my beautiful sister. How are you today? How are you? It's Wednesday. It's hump day. It's hump day. Glad to see you. Glad to see you. What you up to today, Rhonda? What you up to on this Wednesday? Doing my cool down, girl. Doing my cool down. I always want to kind of jog when I do my cool down because I'm outside, but I have to stick to a true cool down. So I just today was arms. I did arms, chest, and back. Just got off of the elliptical, so I'm out here cooling down. But when I'm outside and it feels good outside, I kind of want to jog from time to time. But I'm supposed to be cooling down. I'm supposed to be cooling down. Supposed to be getting everything back to a normal rate. So I can't be out here jogging. Love your workouts. You have inspired me to record live while walking. Okay, okay, okay. That, and you know what, Rhonda, that's it. That's the key. Like, to inspire people to move, move. And I think twice, I always say that that's the goal of me to do my cool down. Like, my warm up is my appetizer, my workout is my entree, my cool down is my dessert. That's my thing. Appetizer, entree, dessert. Warm up, workout, cool down. So it's like I find myself in a catch-22 sometimes. I encourage people to move at least 30 minutes per day. I say 30, but bare minimum 15. I don't like to go below 20 because I find that when people start to lower the time, it honestly, you think it would make it easier for them to walk, but it makes it harder. Just think about it. When you get off work, if you stick with 30 minutes per day, whether it's before work or after work, but if you stick with 30 minutes, okay? So the literature now that can be found says at least 15, right? So what are people going to do? A lot of people, it's already hard, whether it's their schedule or whether it's just they run out of time. Sometimes they're running late, so they find it hard to work out for 30 minutes. So I figured, well, okay, if you're going to decrease the time, decrease it to like 20. But once you get to 15, in my opinion, it makes it easier for you not to do it. Hey, Spiky. It makes it easier. So I suggest bare minimum 15 if you have that mindset that you're going to increase it to 20 to 30. Now, if you have that mindset, because, a lot of times people aren't walking on a regular basis, or biking, exercising, doing the treadmill, elliptical, they aren't doing it on a regular basis. So if you need to start out with 15, 15 is a great place to start with the intentions of increasing it to 20, hopefully 30. In cardio, you can never do too much cardio. You can do cardio every day of the week. When I say you can never do too much, I mean, you can't, like when you're doing weight training, you need to give your muscles a day of rest in between. Like I did arms today, I won't do arms, chest, and back again until Friday. So same way with legs and lower back. I won't do that. I'll do that tomorrow, and I won't do it again until Saturday. And Sunday, I'll usually take the day off, but I don't always take Sunday off. I don't always take it off. Sometimes you have to rearrange your schedule, and I have to take a different day off. So my thing is 15 is the bare minimum, especially if you're just getting started. And guys, know this, that whenever I say something in this video, or whenever you see someone else drop a nugget in this video, those are the things that we find that works for us. We're not trying to give any medical advice, professional advice, and we're not trying to serve as your healthcare provider. So that is the disclaimer. We're telling everybody to do anything to start whatever exercise routine you start or regimen that you start. Always consult your healthcare provider and always do it at a pace that's comparable to your don't go past your capacity, because like I was saying yesterday, if you haven't run, you got out of the military 10 years ago, you haven't run in 10 years. Don't go out there and run a marathon. You got to train. You got to train. Don't go out there and run a marathon. Rhonda says, hey, Spiky. So that's my thing. Don't go out there and run a marathon and you know that you haven't, the last time you ran one was 10 years ago. Make sure that you train. Make sure that you're always make sure that you're hydrated, no matter what time of the year it is, but especially when it's hot outside. So again, everything in this video is just meant for people to pick up nuggets, and we pick up nuggets from those of you who decide to leave something in the chat. Thank you, Spiky and Rhonda, and everyone who is in this live. Hey, Sonia, I appreciate you for coming by. Please thumbs up the live. If you haven't, subscribe, or come back when you decide that, maybe even later if you want to subscribe. Just you being here now is a form of support, and I appreciate you. Sonia says hello. Spiky saying hello. Rhonda speaking back. So yeah, I do. And I think when I say I encourage people to move, I do it your way. Do it your way though. And because exercise is for everybody. Everybody should exercise. And every video that I've made, especially like last year, I let people know my goal is to get you to move. We can all do the same thing, but just do it your way. The same way I might run around the block 5 times, you may walk 5 times. Just do it your way, and do it in a way that's good for you and that works for you. Fazil, hello. Fazil, I think that's YouTube kind of pushing us out more. Appreciate that, YouTube, because I think our lives it's kind of like the shorts table. Now you can, there's an area, or I don't know, it may just be on your feed. It lets you know who's live, more so than just a notification. You don't have to just happen to come across it. I think they kind of push it out there, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Thank you, YouTube. I know we often fuss about the things that YouTube won't do, but we need to show them appreciation for the things that they do. And I feel like if they're pushing your content out, they're doing it in a way to get more people to see you and to support you. That's a good thing. So we appreciate that, YouTube. Rhonda says, please smash that like. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you. Support our beautiful friend. Yes, and I will definitely support all of you guys. We had a great conversation yesterday. So my channel is a shorts channel. It's a live/shorts channel. I don't upload many videos at all because I'm lazy when it comes to editing. So if I do upload them, I'm not going to do a lot of editing, but I usually don't. I'm shorts and live. And with my live, I choose this to be like my show, my Let's Walk and Talk show. And this is when we talk about different topics. We discuss things that are important to me, to you all, things that are going on in the world. And as I was on my elliptical today, hey, Brilliant, hey, sis, thank you for speaking to everybody. Thank you for coming in. On my elliptical today, I was watching the news, y'all, and I see that, I don't remember her first name, but her last name is Cromley. And I think her case may have set, well, we're still in they just decided today. She has been found guilty of involuntary MS. Her son committed the crime. So what do you guys think about, the fact that when some of these young adults, young teenagers and these children do things, they're now going to start holding the parents more accountable, even if it means you going to trial and being charged and going to trial. So, what do you guys think about that? To me, it's one of those sticky situations where I think it depends on the age of the child. If your child skips school, right? I think in most areas, if your child skips school enough times, the parent will get in trouble. If your area has a curfew, if they break curfew enough time, or if they're out past curfew enough times, and they, someone sees them and they get picked up and have to be taken down to the juvenile facility, after so many times, I think the parent, gets into trouble. And it may not be like an automatic jail time or something like that, or something on their record. When I say trouble, it may mean that they have to attend some type of class, and things like that. So what do you guys think? Yeah, what do you think when today she was actually found guilty of 4 counts of involuntary MS? And of course, the news, everyone on the news is thinking that this is the beginning of a new precedent being set. And it's not really a new precedent, because in some areas, it just depends on your area, they already do it. But because I think this was a school-related incident, I think they're starting to crack down more on the parents. And, that's rough. That's rough. As parents, we have to know that we have to take control. We have to take control of the situations with our children. And if we can't take control, if for some reason our kids are out of control, then if we don't want them to get into trouble, and if we don't want to get into trouble, you got to ask for help. You've got to ask for help. Because when they do some of these things, and you're like, well, I need help. He doesn't listen to me. She doesn't listen to me. I think one of the first questions is going to be, what have you done? Like, did you do anything to try and curtail their activities? So what do you guys think about that? They will make you go to court. Let's see. They'll make you go to court if your kids, truancy. What's it called? That truancy law. If your kids are not in school the way they're supposed to be in school, you have to go to court. And hopefully, if that happens, which we would hope that it doesn't happen, but we know that it does. So if it happens, hopefully that'll be a wake-up call to not just the parent, because the parent knows that it's wrong. But again, sometimes kids are kind of out of control. And y'all believe it or not, sometimes parents are afraid of their kids. Sometimes parents are afraid of their kids. And sometimes, so it's like they don't have control. And sometimes it's not that they're afraid, but sometimes they're working. They're outside of the home trying to make a living, trying to, provide for the family. So it's like, what do you do? What do you do? It's crazy. It's crazy. What do you do? But I do think that this case, I don't know. I think we have to wait for the, complete outcome, because of course I know that they're going to appeal, so I think we have to wait for a while to see as far as how it will affect the nation overall, because this is one of those things that can have a huge potential to have a huge effect on the rest of the United States. This happened in Michigan. And, anytime there are school-related incidents, people in other states, they look to each other. They look to their fellow states to see how they handle things, to see how they're doing it. I know a lot of times it depends on, the political lean of the state as far as how it will be handled. But in this particular case, I don't know if the political lean will matter as much, because it will matter. But who's going to fight against, a lot of people will fight against it, against parents being charged. A lot of people will fight against parents being charged. So I'm curious to see what side of the aisle will fight for parents to be held accountable, and what side will say, hey, this is on the kid. If they were old enough to find the weapon, they were old enough to commit a crime, then they're the one who should do the time, not their parents. Because believe it or not, y'all, sometimes when kids get into trouble, it doesn't mean they have a bad parent. It doesn't always mean that their parents are bad. Like I said, um, sometimes with a single parent, sometimes with a two-parent household, you're working and you're not there a lot, or or you're there later in the evening, and maybe you don't get home until 7, 8, maybe you get home around 6. Well, if they're not involved in school activities or sports, you have maybe from 4 o'clock until 5, at least an hour, up to maybe 3 to 4 hours to get into things. And so that's when I feel like the community should be more involved. Some communities don't offer a lot of activities for kids when they get out of school. Some communities don't offer a lot of activities for kids when they get out of school. Tell me about that. How is your area? You don't have to say what area, but is your area really, really good about getting kids involved in good extracurricular activities after school? Are your schools in your area, are they good with as far as sports and not just sports, music, band, whatever it is? Do they offer a lot for the kids in your area? Do those under the age of 18, I'll say 18 and under, do they seem to be preoccupied in a good way? Does your city offer resources for those children, those kids? I say children, some of them are 18, 16, 17, 16, and technically to me they are children. 18, yeah, you're grown, you can go to the military, but how much have you done in the world? You're still naive. You're still naive to the ways of the world. Unless you've had to grow up fast. If you're one of those 17, 18-year-olds who had to grow up fast, you've taken care of your siblings and things like that, you'll be more mature. But as far as the ways of this world outside of your home, you'll still be a bit naive. Hopefully, I really hope that you are, because at 17, 18, there's only so much you should know. Should you be smart? Yes. Should you be educated? Definitely. But as far as the ways of the world, you do want to know, as parents, we do need to teach our kids a lot about the world, but still, they're young. An 18-year-old shouldn't be in the company of a 28-year-old, in my opinion, even though they're grown. So I just wonder how you guys feel about the resources that your city offers to young people. And not even to young people, but to elderlies as well. Let me look at some of the comments. Rhonda says, my opinion, she deserves to be sentenced. She neglected a lot of her parenting responsibilities. Parenting is hard, but we must be vigilant. Yes, I feel that way too, Rhonda, especially if you're going to have weapons around the home. You have to be, I find that some people have weapons around the home, but they don't educate, they don't teach their children. They don't make sure that they know that, first of all, they need to be put up where they can't get them, regardless of age. But we know how, kids will be kids. They're nosy, and they can find them. I saw a story on YouTube one day last week where he was 8 or 9. He found his father's weapon. He was being abused, and he was to the point of wanting to do something horrible to himself. And he knew where the weapon was. He knew where the weapon was. He went to the weapon. And he doesn't know what he would have done, but because he heard his father's car pull up, he quickly put the weapon away and went back to doing what he was supposed to be doing. Because if he hadn't been doing what he was supposed to be doing, then his father would be livid. So that's just the mindset of an 8-year-old. Had he done what he was thinking about doing, he wouldn't have known that his father was livid anyway. But by the grace of God, thank God he didn't. Thank God, of course, we hate that he's abused, but thank goodness he was so afraid to do anything, so afraid of not being where his father told him to be. So he ran back quickly to where he was supposed to be as his punishment. He was supposed to be in the living room or the kitchen, on the floor, on his knees, on top of rice. So he quickly ran back to that location and got back on his knees. His father came in, he said, and he told him he could get up. So I guess after that, he never, I won't say he never thought about it again, but he didn't, in his story, he didn't say that he tried, that he tried anything else. My daughters were hell on wheels at teens. Today they are in their 30s and they highly respect me for it. Yes, 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 yes. That's so true. You can be strict sometimes, and I will say sometimes we can be too strict. But it comes from love of wanting them to succeed, to stay out of trouble, to focus on good things, and to focus on getting their education. My thing was to focus on them getting their education, because even in 2004, it's amazing how many young women and young men don't have their high school diploma. Their high school diploma. That is the minimum. That's the minimum that you should strive for. Your high school diploma. Don't, even if you don't like school, get your GED. That's the bare minimum. Do you know how hard it is out here for people who are college educated? And then you go on, you go on, you go on, and the next thing you know, you're 25, you're 30. You're getting on up there. You're no longer Miss, MISS. Married or not, you're a Miss. So you need to be trying to dedicate yourself to doing the things that you need to do to acquire the minimum, the least amount of education that everybody should have. I think that was the goal. That's the goal of education, a high school diploma. And some people will tell you, no matter how many degrees they have, that their high school diploma was their most proud moment. Oh, yeah, he sounds like a jet. And not a good way either. He sounds like a jet. Too many kids out there getting these, hey, cool gamer, getting right from their parents and house and killing, innocent children, students. These parents encourage, yeah, they take them out and they teach them. My thing is, if you're going to teach something like that, teach responsibility. Hey, I'm Beck. Hey, sis, thank you for coming into the live. Beck says, hello, sis, thumbs up. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Beck, for coming in. I appreciate you for coming in. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you, Brilliant, Spiky, Cool Gamer, and all the other people that came through here early on. I appreciate you guys for coming through. So yeah, if you're going to have them, because that is a right that they afford. Well, they say they afford everybody, but that's a whole nother live. That is a right, constitutional right. So make sure you're responsible, because a lot of it is not just the fact that they're teaching them and they're not being responsible in the way that they're teaching. They can't be being responsible because they're going out and committing these crimes. So they're teaching them, that they can pretty much do what they want to do. They're teaching them that they can pretty much do what they want to do. So I don't know how much time she'll get, but I do know that there were 4. She was convicted on 4 counts. So I don't know how much time she'll get, but MS, I guess it depends on the area. She's in Michigan, so I don't know how it works there. I don't know what the minimum is there. So whatever the minimum is, I guess it'll be, 4 times. So that's a lot of time to be away from home and to be in an environment like prison. Too much time. So, Rhonda, like you said, some of these parents, they're thinking, well, if he does it, we'll be there for him or we'll be there for her. But what about who will be there for you if they decide to charge you? Because again, today, the mom in Michigan, last name Crumbly, she was found guilty of involuntary MS. on 4 counts. And she's sitting in there, she's looking sad, you know, which anybody would. But I wonder what were some of the things that she taught him. What were some of the things that she told him when she taught him to use the weapon? And the dad goes on trial, I think at some point next month. He hadn't gone on trial yet. He hasn't gone on trial yet. So wherever he is, if he's in their local county and he's heard about this, I know he has to be really, really, really nervous. I know he has to be nervous. You know, sometimes it's good to teach your kids how to protect themselves, whether it's with a weapon, their hands, or whatever. But you have to teach them to know what lines to cross. You know what lines to cross, because there are sometimes people who they get, you know, charged and sentenced even if they're protecting themselves, because just depends on your area. It depends on your area, the laws in your area, the laws in your state. You know, if you were protecting yourself, and just how much did you do in order to protect yourself. So, you know, and if you did the maximum, they're going to really try and figure out if the maximum was necessary. So they really try to figure out if the maximum was necessary. And then we always know that, you know, you can't depend on the case that happened 2 years ago or 3 years ago. The person in the case that happened 2 or 3 years ago may be different from those circumstances, may be different from your circumstances. So you don't know what they'll do, how they'll try you, you know, what the sentence will be. You'll have a person, and these are just examples, in Michigan who may get 5-year sentence for involuntary MS. Well, someone in Louisiana, their minimum sentence may be 10 years. So don't just go out here and be doing things. You know, we have to teach these kids, and we teach even adults. As adults, we have to think about it. You just can't go and be doing things, you know. Yeah, we all have had times, I'm sure, where we've lost our temper. We may have even walked away and went back, knowing we shouldn't have gone back. You know, those are things they take into consideration. But sometimes you do get a jury or a judge who will, you know, they understand. Sometimes when you lose it, guys, you lose it. Sometimes when you're so angry, yeah, you walk away. But sometimes once you've gone from that 1 or 2 to that 10 or 20, even if you turn to walk away, sometimes it's hard to stay turned and you go back. Yes, Rhonda says, I heard she was encouraging weapon usage and received a note from the state that her kid needed. Oh my God. See, now what she should have done, I know sometimes these states, when they offer help with mental, when people have mental issues or mental illness, when they offer help, it may not be the best quality help, but had she at least sought the help that they suggested, she could at least have that in her favor, saying, hey, I sought help for him. I tried to get help for him. But if she refused and she didn't, then what can she say? Beck says, right, sis. Rhonda says, true. Not a perfect parent, but God knows I've tried my best. Right, Rhonda. I've tried. I know I've done some stuff that, like they say, it's cliche, but the saying is truthful. Parenting doesn't come with a handbook. And even if it did come with a handbook, I bet it wouldn't be perfect. Rhonda says, you have a wonderful moral compass. Oh, thank you, Rhonda. I try. Since I try, believe me, it's hard. And I'm far, far, far from where I want to be. I'm far, far from where I want to be. But I do believe that when you come with a sincere heart, like I was talking about the other day, you reap what you sow. And a lot of us have sown some bad. And a lot of us have sown a lot of bad. But there should come a time in your life where you should find more peace in being calm, you know, and start to do good things. Try to start reaping, you know, try to start sowing good things. Because a lot of us have sown bad things. I think I said that backwards earlier. We've often sown bad things. Some more so than others, of course. But I think each person can benefit from being better and from growing. So if you know you've sown a lot, and like I said the other day, you look back over life and you just look back at it like a big long field from the time that you came into this world until whatever age you are now. And you know you've sown some bad, guess what? You're gonna sow some more bad, most likely, because we're human, we're flesh. But you're supposed to turn it around. Turn it around. For those who believe, you repent and you mean it. You mean it. Are you going to be perfect? No. But you mean it. Are you going to backslide? Yes. Most likely. Keep living. Yeah, you will. Keep on living. Another one from Granny. Just keep on living. She used to always tell us that if she was like, when someone would say they didn't have arthritis, y'all know how the parents, the elders in the family, they sitting around the table at the get-togethers and stuff, and they're talking about, oh, I take 5 pills. And then the other auntie from out of town says, girl, what you talking about? They had me on 10. I'm glad I'm down to 8. But they still got to outdo the other auntie who was taking 5. And so in those conversations, you hear the young people come through and throw little jabs and say, what y'all talking about? Arthritis. My great-grandmother say, keep on living. Just keep on living. Keep on living. And before you call somebody else old, what's the alternative? You want to get old, don't you? So they always said, keep on living. Keep on living. Sonya, you're still there? Hey, Sonya, look, we have to multitask. We have to multitask, right? We have to multitask. Was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday, Sonya. I know you're busy, so I know you may not say anything, but remember last night? It was you, it was you kicking it with Lynn and me, and we were still on here, and it was like an hour and a half almost. Girl, I think I was supposed to go pay a bill and I forgot all about it. I had to do it online. Girl, y'all know how I am about that. Y'all know I'm old fashioned. If I can go into the place, I like to go and pay my bills. I will pay them online, but if I can go, I'll go. And one reason I'm like that is because, have you ever had your bill set on auto pay? Y'all, I had a bill set on auto pay. Tell me why my job at the time had some issues with payroll, something with their bank, and it was a big place, big corporation. Hadn't had that issue before. Yeah, I had something that was to be payroll deducted on payday, and those folks don't care. They do not care. Look, they don't look at it like, well, you're on payroll deduction, so yeah, there was an issue, so we'll forgive it. No, they're looking at it like, hey, how do we even know that you work? We just expect for the money to be there. Y'all, I was so mad I didn't know what to do. Because, then there's the bank fee. At that time, it was so long, it was a return fee. But now most banks and credit unions, you can, there's what is it when it's like forgiveness? Or it's like you can not have enough funds, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter how many times, and they'll still pay it for you. They'll take it out of your savings account. And if you don't have that type of plan set up, they'll charge you a fee. But if you opt in, the fee is a lot less than if you don't opt in. Yes, Sonya, we was having a good time last night. Yes, so, like my great granny says, just keep on living. So we're not going to be perfect. We're of the flesh, so we just have to try and be better. So I appreciate Rhonda for saying that about my moral compass, because Rhonda, remember what you said about your daughters? That was me. That was me. That was me. And a lot of times it can still be me. So we gotta, we have to try and remain calm, focus on ourselves. Sometimes you gotta get out of character. It is what it is. Sometimes you have to get out of character. But try your best to, stay calm, stay in the cool bag. Don't bust out of the bag hot. Rhonda says, I feel you. You touch the truth of us everyday people. Yeah, like you have to, like I always say in here, you have to acknowledge your flaws. If you don't acknowledge your flaws, how do you work on them? How do you work on them? If you don't acknowledge your flaws, how do you work on them? You can't, because you're going to always be right. In your eyes, you're going to always be right. And when I was younger, and I see that still today, some people, they'll say something to you and you may be like put off by it. But they think because they asked or they said it that you're overreacting. No. Just like you can say something to somebody that get them a little bit perturbed, just think of it as if someone said something to you. But you have a lot of people who still don't think that way. They'll say something to you, and a lot of times, like I said yesterday, if you think you shouldn't say it, then maybe don't say it. Because it's just like the something within them is just eating them so bad that they still decide to maybe cross the line, and then they justify it by saying, I was just this or I was just that. Well, if a person says, well, that's a little bit too intrusive. Y'all, they got the nerve to get mad at you. They got the nerve to get mad at you because they were intrusive. But if you flip the coin, if the coin flips, then you're supposed to understand when they tell you you're being intrusive or you're being insensitive. You're being insensitive. Gary Coleman, get your ass up out of this chat talking about shut up. Gary Coleman. God, YouTube. Y'all remember I said YouTube is doing a good thing by having the table where your lives are being shown. Because it's getting people out there. And if they see content and they like it, that they haven't seen before, they can use it. Now I gotta hide Gary Coleman's ass, and his name probably isn't even Gary Coleman. And if your name is Gary Coleman, guess what? You give the real deal Gary Coleman a bad name. Now get your out of here. Y'all see how easy that was? See how easy that was? He came in here and said, shut up. Girl, y'all, I would have cursed him out. Like, even to this day, like I said, I'm not just. I'm not. But because I know how people can be on these applications, honestly, it's taught me a little bit more patience. Because you can't lay hands to them, so what do? What do? You can't lay hands to them, so you block them. So what they're going to do is they're going to go create another channel. And if you're still on, they'll come back. But guess what? Before I hit him, he was a view. He was a view. It says Gary Coleman was hidden by Lion's Pride. You try to get him too, Sonya? See, like, it's almost like, see that kind of stuff like that? Girl, that stuff would have had me furious. And what can I do? Well, I don't even know where he is. I don't even know where he is. He said, I'm following you. So whoever he is, he probably already got a couple of pages because we got rid of him. He came back that quick. So that's why I say some of the things that YouTube does, it's good. They're good. And some of the things they do aren't so good. But I do think that them showing you who's live is meant to be good. It's meant to be good. But you'll always have an uneducated clown to come around. You'll always have an uneducated clown to come around. And the sad part about it is, y'all, sometimes we're interacting with people who are uneducated every day. Every day. We're interacting with people who are uneducated every day. And they're mad at us because they lack education. And when I say lack education, it doesn't mean you didn't go to school. And I'm not even trying to be funny. But when you tell me your level of school, I'm probably not going to be surprised. And that's not to say college educated people are the smartest people in the world. You have people who are geniuses. They're geniuses. They dropped out of high school. They're high school dropouts. But they had the knowledge and sense to know that they had to do something, that their talent had to be their education. A lot of times your talent has to be your education. For instance, love him or not, like him or not, Kanye West. He's a millionaire. His talent has to be his education. So if you're sitting around here not really educated and you jumping around in people's chats saying things you shouldn't say, I know that we wouldn't be surprised at your level of education. That being said, you have some people with PhDs who act like children, or who act like you expect children to act, because some children are very mature. So you're laughing. Yeah, some people are very mature, very, very mature. They're mature children. They're mature for their age. They listen, and it's like Rhonda was saying earlier. You you as a parent, you may not be perfect, but you do the best that you can do. And even when you're not perfect, you try and you pray, you hope that your kids won't get into trouble. You hope that they won't hang around people who will get them into trouble. That a lot of times is the catch. Kids gotta want to be kids. Kids want friends. They have friends. Sometimes you've raised them to do right, but sometimes that peer pressure can be a mother shooter. Not a mother shooter, because some of these people do that. Depending on what type of kids they are. But I'll say some of the peers can be something else. So you've taught them right, but sometimes peer pressure will outweigh. It'll weigh on them harder than what you've taught them. They'll know that what they're doing is wrong, but sometimes peer pressure just kicks in. Peer pressure kicks in, and sometimes they do things that they shouldn't do. In those cases, you just have to hope that, support them, tell them to take that as a teaching moment, teachable moment. And however they felt when they got into trouble, whatever kind of trouble it was, especially if it was trouble that mom and dad couldn't quite get them out of, however they felt then, and whatever they had to do to get things straightened out. If they don't want to have to go through that again, they'll use that as a teachable moment. Because even as adults, we have moments that are teachable, learnable. We have times where we need to learn to do better. That's why I say, I told Rhonda, thank you, but I know there's always room for improvement in all of us. Do some of us want to improve? No. And that's the sad part about it. Some of us are wilding out here. Wilding out. Shout out to Nick Cannon and the Wilding Out crew. Some adults, some parents, some grandparents are out here wilding out. They don't want to do better. They love being just the way they are. Just the way they are. Y'all, I think I said something about this yesterday. Groundhog Day comes in February, every February. And they said that this is the 11th time that he hasn't seen his shadow. So that means in early spring. And I'm telling you, the past week or so, it's felt like an early spring. It gets cool at night. It kind of feels like fall. You know how in the fall, it's still sunny, like maybe through September. It starts to get cool during the day, kind of windy. And then at night, it's colder. And then winter is cold all day. Well, in the spring, it starts to heat up a little bit. Late in the evening, it cools off some. And sometimes at night, it can get a little chilly. So that's what it's feeling like right now. It's been sunny for a few days, a light rain a day or two, but even then it was, warm. It just had a good, nice feel, like the breeze off of water or something. And like right now, I don't have on any sleeves. So I have on my bubble jacket. I got on my bubble jacket, but I don't have on any sleeves. And it feels good. Sonya said, same here. It really hasn't been that cold. Yeah, it hasn't been that cold. And I think it's like everywhere. Remember a couple of weeks ago, it was raining Well, a lot of people were getting snow. A lot of people were getting snow, and quite a few people were getting rain in their area. And then when it kind of all, passed by, and it's been pretty warm in most places, even in places where you wouldn't expect it to be warm. It's been warm. It's been warm, like my family in Chicago, even my family in Boston. They say it's not as cold as it normally is. So I don't know. Maybe the groundhog knows something this year. Maybe he knows something this year. Now, as soon as we say that, we know we'll get that Easter snap. So the Easter snap is going to come regardless. I think you get that Easter snap most times regardless. But it's still early February. So as soon as we think we're going to have this early spring, it might get cold. It might get frigid. It might get really, really cold. I smell detergent. Somebody is washing clothes. I need to hire them. Somebody's washing clothes. Somebody is washing clothes. I don't know if it's Gain or Tide, but I smell something and it smells so good. Hey, Blue. Blue said, I made it. You made it just in time, Blue. I'm about to get off here in a few minutes. Yeah, somebody is washing clothes, y'all, and it smells so, so good. So yeah, so that was my topic for today. What do you think parents should be held accountable when kids commit crimes? I know, each state is different. Sometimes it's a regional thing. Sometimes you may be charged with something in Michigan and that exact same charge in Florida, and the Michigan sentence may be lighter, the Florida sentence may be heavier, or vice versa. But Miss Crumley, I don't remember her first name, she was found guilty today. 4 counts. 4 counts. Involuntary MS. Because her son did what he did to 4 people. And so, yeah, again, a lot of the news outlets have been talking about it. They're saying that it may set a strong precedence. And I think it can. I think it will in some areas, depending on what her sentence is. So I'm just waiting to see, what the sentence is. And I do think parents should be held accountable. Now, I do think sometimes some situations, sometimes all situations need to really be, because a lot of the times situations will be similar, but a lot of times they won't be. Sometimes you will have parents who had no clue, no idea, no clue, no idea. Other family members can't even say, well, yes, they did because we told them this or they told us that. Just like in her case, Rhonda told us that the state offered them mental assistance. They didn't take it. Some people have no clue. But when you have parents who it's documented that they do have an idea, and it's also documented that their morals, your morals can be documented. You have family and friends, co-workers who will say, well, they pretty much said it's their right to do this, that, and the third. So when you're raising your kids, you have to think about what you're teaching them. Even if you feel like it's their right to own certain weapons, you still have to be smart about it. You still have to keep those weapons away from them. I don't care what age they are, 18 and under. I know in some states, 16-year-olds can hunt and things like that, but you have to teach them safety. You have to teach them responsibility and accountability. You have to teach them responsibility. You have to teach them safety, accountability, and responsibility. You have to. And in her case, if the state offered her help, she should have taken that help. I know sometimes, like I said, when state agencies offer you help, it's not like when it's private help from someone that you pay. Sometimes it's not that great, but at least she would have been on record for taking the help. Blue says, I don't know why I'm not getting notifications. And yes, of a certain age, parents should be held accountable. Yes, certain age and certain situations, certain circumstances, I do believe that. Yep, exactly that part. When you know in advance and do nothing, that's the issue. I agree with. Yeah, and from what they've been saying, she knew. how he was. But some of these parents, they have that do as they want attitude, and they allow their kids to have that attitude, that they can do as they choose, do as they want, do as they please, you know, regardless of what anybody else feels. And we were talking about that. Some adults are like that. Some adults are like that in life. Some adults are like that in your family, who you work with, who you go to school with, uh, who you party with, who you associate with on the app. Some people are just like that. They feel like they can do whatever they want to do. Y'all look, 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 look. His master's calling him, y'all. He cutting up. Look, he came further today. Uh, he looked back though. He knew he was getting in trouble. Yes, y'all. So, you have to take accountability. You have to take accountability. Again, it's just like when your child is truant in school. Because sometimes it could be that they're skipping school, especially if they're teenagers or junior high even. But sometimes it can be, parent doesn't have the transportation. It doesn't matter. If it's just that the parent knows where they are and they don't have the transportation to get them there. The bus, sometimes, believe it or not, people say catch the bus, but there are some areas where the bus doesn't run. The school bus doesn't run, and it's up to the parents to get them to school. So imagine being a parent or parents with no vehicle, or you have to get to work where you got to take care of family. Well, if your kid misses enough days, they get the truancy officer involved. So it's just like when they skip school. If they skip enough days, they get the truancy officer involved, and the parents are held accountable. So, especially when it comes to crimes, and they're of a certain age, if they're not emancipated, then parents are being held responsible. They're being held accountable for their children's actions. Oftentimes the parents need help also. Yes, and there is a stigma that makes them feel ashamed to ask for help. Definitely. That's true. That is true. Sonya said, yeah, it's bad, but he said, his owner said, because he came further today, y'all. It's like he met me. Usually when I get when he'll see me coming and I get to the house next to his, he'll run to the end of the street, but he'll stay in his yard. This time he ran into the other person's driveway. And so I don't know if y'all heard his pawpaw. He was like, you know better than that. So he ran into the driveway. And I'm like, he's looking at me and he's growling. I've gotten used to him, but he's still looking at me and he's growling. And he was like, he's getting so used to you. That's why he did that. So he came and met me. Usually he'll wait right until I get in front of his house. Even if he sees me coming, his ears will stand up and he'll sit up in his lap. Or if he's not in his owner's lap, he'll just, come out closer into the middle of the yard. And so when I get closer, he'll come and run alongside me. Y'all, this time he met me. He I'm like, his owner is saying, he's just doing that because he's getting so used to you. He just wants to sniff you. And I'm saying to myself, yeah, he's getting used to me, but he might just be getting braver and braver and braver. I said, you better get him because I hate to, y'all know I don't like to. Sonya, you remember that? You remember that puppy that had me dancing that day? Blue says, right, Sonya. She was so excited to see a neighbor. That better be what it was, y'all, because he usually doesn't come that far. He usually doesn't leave the yard. He actually left their yard, and he only came into the driveway, the next driveway over. But he'll come and like he scared me or something, I guess, and then he'll. And now the first time I saw him, he did scare me because I hadn't seen him before. But he'll stand there and he'll growl because y'all know the small dogs are the most vicious. They're the most vicious. And even in the cases where they aren't the most vicious, they're vicious enough. They're vicious enough. Think about it. They're strong too. And they love the legs. They get a hold to your foot, your foot, your leg. You got to get them off. You got to get them off. Blue says, I see it all the time in the mental health field. That's why we have to educate everyone more and more and give people a safe place for them and their children. Yes, yes, Blue, that's so important. Not, of course, children first, but the parents as well. The parents as well. Sonya, that dog had me doing the two-step because it was like, I'm thinking, what do I do? I can't kick him. These people be reporting me for abuse, but then anybody with a grain of sense will see that dog was ready to fight. He was ready to fight. And I didn't have anything on me at the time. Shoot. And I wasn't gonna let him bite me. He sniffed my feet. I'm like, that's enough. Y'all see another one. I don't know this one. I'm not gonna go down there to him because the thing about it is these people have their pets and the pets will take off running. And y'all, they just stand there looking crazy. They just stand there looking crazy. And then if you do something to them, they get mad. They get mad. My thing is, you don't know what the pet will do. These owners don't even know. That burns me up sometimes when you see a dog or something barking at somebody, especially at children. And the first thing they say is, oh, he doesn't bite. She doesn't bite. They have a mouth. They have teeth. He doesn't bite you. You don't know what he'll do. You don't know what he'll do. But that's what they say. They say that all the time. They'll say it all the time. They'll say they don't bite. And I'm like, okay, he won't bite you. He won't bite you. He doesn't know me. And what do dogs do? They bite people. They attack people they don't know. Unless they're like certain breeds don't. Or I'll say certain breeds won't, but all breeds can. I'll put it like that. Certain breeds, there are some breeds that won't, that tend not to, but every breed has the potential to bite you, attack you. Yeah, Sonya, that dog doesn't know me, and you may not even be looking like you're trying to, cause it any harm or cause the owner any harm. Sometimes they just see you as a threat. That's why people have to be really cautious with their children. I don't even know, I haven't heard this in a while, but I was in a class one time and we was just, learning the do's and don'ts when encountering aggressive pets or pets that you don't know. And they say that, dogs will attack you, especially kids, because kids are right at their height. Babies and toddlers are right at the height of a lot of dogs. And so sometimes they see that as a threat. Poor little kid, poor little toddler is not even a threat to them. But, just like when some dogs encounter each other, they see each other as threats. So yeah, sometimes they will, attack. They don't know you and you don't know them. Some dogs have attacked their own owners. So I never go with that. I never go with that. Sonya laughing at Blue's journey. What Blue say? I don't see anything. Oh, okay. I was about to say I think she's gone, but I see what you were laughing at. Yeah, that's what he was acting like, Sonya. That's what he was acting like, Blue. He was acting like he was trying to get to know his neighbor. That little rascal knows me though. So I'm thinking that's a good thing. I'm hoping that's a good thing. I have yet to see. But I will say about him, he obeys. He typically obeys. Now I need to knock on wood. I need to knock on some wood somewhere. I need some wood. I don't want to touch these trees though, because you never know what's on these trees. So I got a piece of wood in my pocket on my key ring. I had to knock on wood. I've been on here an hour, y'all. An hour. Yeah, so I guess I gotta go in and I gotta jump in the shower. I gotta jump in the shower, get me something to eat before it's too late. And y'all know what it is. I always wish you all peace, positivity, and prosperity. Peace, positivity, and prosperity. The three P's, because without peace, there's chaos. Without positivity, there's negativity. And wherever chaos and negativity breed and stir around, you fail to prosper to your fullest potential. You fail to prosper to your fullest potential. So don't let bothered people bother you. Don't let bothered people bother you. Because mostly, that's who's going to bother you. People who are already bothered themselves. Don't let bothered people bother you. Don't you bother anybody unless they bother you. And don't you guys leave this app, church, work, your family members' home, Walmart, Target, Ross. Don't you leave any place with more stress than you went in there with. If you went in there, most of us have some degree of stress. We're not as stressed, as we maybe could be. And we may not be stressed at all. We may not have any stress. So don't leave any place with more stress than you entered that place. Never leave a place with more stress than when you entered. If you find that starting to happen, when you see that stress building up, leave. 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 Leave if you can. If it's work and you can't leave, leave the area. Leave the area. Leave the area. So that's it. That's all on this Let's Walk and Talk live video. Again, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hold my doorbell, better known as that YouTube notification bell. And anything that you've heard in this video was only meant to help and encourage, uplift. If there was any type of potential medical information in here, we aren't giving professional advice, okay? We're just dropping nuggets. We drop nuggets over here, and we pick up nuggets. We drop nuggets, and some of us come through and pick up nuggets on things that help us individually, or that may help our family and our friends, and we want to share them with each other. We want to share them with each other. So no one's trying to give any professional advice. We're just sharing things that work for us and that we see that work for other people. It may work for you, it may not. You may have to change it around. You may be able to offer that help to someone else. So that's it. That's all. I will see you guys on the next Let's Walk and Talk live. Bye, y'all. Sonya says, enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you, Sonya. You too. You and Blue too. You guys are still in here with me. I see a couple of more people. Thank you for coming by, sharing some time with me. Whether it's a minute, whether it's a second, whether it's 5 minutes, because you could have been anywhere else. And you could be multitasking. We have to multitask, right? So you could be sharing some time with me and doing something else at the same time. And I appreciate it. Whatever it is, I appreciate it. And Gary Coleman, even though we had to hide you, you came in and you gave a view. Right? You gave a view. Blue says, that's right. Take what you need and leave the rest for someone else. Exactly. Exactly. Take what you need and leave the rest for someone else. Don't be greedy. Don't be stubborn. And y'all always remember that 4-letter word called self. It's okay to be selfish sometimes. Selfish doesn't always have to be a negative word. We take SELF and we put it in front of so many good words. And selfish can also be good. You can be self-dedicated, self-love, self-care, self-acceptance, self-acknowledgement, self-worth, self-care. All right. Bye, y'all.